No Rules Rules by Reed Hastings and Erin Meyer. The most successful workplaces focus on quality over quantity. They strive for a high talent density workplace where fewer numbers of exceptional employees are given the freedom to collaborate and innovate and are paid according to the value they provide. Successful leaders also establish a culture of candor where transparency is valued and employees feel free to provide beneficial feedback to everyone, from their peers to their superiors. The most successful business leaders do not try to control their employees, but give them the freedom to take responsibility for their own decisions based on the context and information the leaders provide. With this responsibility, exceptional employees are able to innovate and come up with creative solutions. A dispersed decision-making process empowers employees, but can only be successful when leaders make it clear that all decisions must be made with the company's best interests at heart. Open transparency and honesty empower employees to do their best work, but leaders of international teams should also be mindful of cultural differences and adjust their feedback and communication techniques accordingly. A successful workplace aims for high talent density. The most successful workplaces only retain the most talented and enthusiastic employees. Employees who do not perform their best will only bring the rest of the team down, so those who do not come into the workplace ready to do their best work should be let go. Inadequacy is contagious and therefore should not be tolerated by any member of the team. Without these lackluster employees, the work atmosphere improves and everyone will feel the positive effects. A positive, inspirational work atmosphere where everyone enjoys their work will encourage every team member to perform their best. However, if there is even one slacker on the team, then that will also influence the entire team's morale. Other team members will become less motivated and less enthusiastic about their work. Therefore, it is better to have a smaller team of enthusiastic, committed employees than it is to have a larger team made up of lackluster employees. In contrast, very smart, talented people will encourage each other to continue to exceed and do better, and each member of the team will improve at their jobs. In turn, they will help the company meet its goals and succeed. This is why the most successful companies strive for talent density, in which a few diverse, creative, and talented team members bring their unique perspectives and creative problem-solving ideas to the team, where they collaborate to solve problems and accomplish important work. However, in order to ensure that talent density is achieved, that sometimes means that leaders will be forced to fire employees when an even better candidate comes along. Firing an employee is never easy, but high talent density environments do not pretend to be companies where every employee is a family. Instead, it is the opposite. At high talent density companies, employees are hired precisely because they are the best at their job. However, if they are no longer the best person for that role, then it should be given to someone who can excel in that position. To ensure that each team member is working in a role that is best fit for them, managers should employ the keeper test. This means asking themselves if they would try to change their employee's mind if the individual said they were planning on quitting. Managers should only keep employees who they would try to convince to stay on. Any employee whose resignation they would simply accept without complaint should not be on the team in the first place. While talent density can risk leading to a competitive work environment, strong companies should know that collaboration and talent density align with each other, because the best individuals know they have a secure spot on the team. A culture of candor. Successful teams do not waste time gossiping, backstabbing, or engaging in office politics. Instead, they feel free to give their opinions and provide feedback to one another without fear of retaliation. Giving and receiving feedback also allows people to learn ways in which they can improve their work and accomplish tasks more effectively, which means that ultimately the entire company will perform better. While hearing feedback, especially negative feedback, is almost always initially uncomfortable and stressful, the benefits outweigh the short-term discomfort. A feedback loop is one of the most effective methods for team members and companies to improve. To establish an effective feedback loop, bosses should implement a culture of candor within their teams. This means bosses must lead by example, not just by giving feedback to their employees, but by actively seeking out and receiving feedback from their staff. A good leader should make their employees feel comfortable giving them honest feedback, and should respond with gratitude and a commitment to improve and work on areas that need improvement. For feedback to be beneficial, it must be given with positive intent. It should not be negative, intended to be hurtful, or set in anger or frustration. Feedback should provide helpful, actionable advice on what the recipient can do differently in order to improve their performance. A culture of candor does not mean just saying anything to anyone. Instead, it means individuals should take time to assess how their feedback will be interpreted and if it will lead to positive change before speaking their mind. At Netflix, managers enforced this standard by implementing a guideline that all team members should only say something out loud about someone if it is something they would say directly to their face. Netflix also encourages a culture of candor by implementing an online 360 feedback process. Instead of having everyone receive a formal performance review from their managers, which is not time-effective in a company with thousands of employees, this online system enables any employee to give feedback to any other person at the company, and they are given the opportunity to respond. This means that both peers and bosses can provide feedback on any individual's strengths, weaknesses, and areas for improvement. When conducting a live 360 feedback session, managers should ensure that no one steps out of line and says anything hurtful or uncalled for. The goal is not to shame anyone, but provide beneficial feedback. These sessions can be very beneficial as long as the company has a high talent density and implements a culture where bad attitudes, immaturity, and rude behavior is not allowed, and employees are encouraged to show vulnerability. These sessions should be positive and beneficial, but if someone does say something inappropriate, it is the team leader's responsibility to address it immediately in real time. A written 360 report is also a great tool for providing feedback. However, leaders should not tie raises or promotions to these reports. Instead, the goal for these sessions is to encourage candor and open up the team for feedback and comments. This process ensures all team members regularly get the beneficial and candid feedback they need to ensure they are performing at their best. Give employees freedom to act in the company's best interest. Unlimited vacation is one of the most important benefits that a company can provide to its employees. This benefit helps companies attract and retain the best talent. Additionally, unlimited vacation is good for the company because it reduces administrative costs by eliminating the need to keep track of each individual's vacation days and out-of-office schedule. Employees also benefit from the freedom and trust that comes from unlimited vacation, which encourages responsible behavior. Unlimited vacation does not necessarily change the number of vacation days an employee will take. It does give them more freedom to organize both their personal and professional lives on their own terms. Without a set number of vacations, however, the burden falls on leaders to implement a culture where employees are actually encouraged to use their vacation days. Most employees take their cues from their bosses, so it is important for higher-ups to not only take their vacation days, but to be vocal about utilizing their benefits. It is important for employees to take vacation days. All employees benefit from the positive effects that vacation provides. When employees become overworked, they risk becoming burnt out and can lose perspective, which means their creativity and problem-solving skills can be negatively impacted. Time away from work provides necessary mental rest and clarity that allows employees to return to work refreshed and better able to tackle problems with a new perspective. Netflix's travel and expense policy are act in Netflix's best interest. This empowers employees to make their own decisions without seeking constant approval or being micromanaged, but also imparts on them a sense of responsibility to behave in ways that are in the best long-term interest of the company. For example, this means that employees are permitted to expense costly items if they will truly benefit the company. However, if employees cannot justify the expense, then they should not purchase the item. As in any group, there will always be a few people who try to bend the rules for their own benefit. However, the best way to deal with these people is to deal with each individual case as it arises, not by overreacting and implementing more company-wide rules. Most people will behave responsibly, and the company will gain more than it might lose on the small percentage of potential cheaters. This freedom empowers responsible employees to take risks that could be of great benefit to the company. This is why it is essential for companies to focus on only employing top talent. The best performing teams can be trusted to make responsible choices, watch out for each other, and provide feedback that ensures all team members will make the best choices for everyone. Paying top talent. High talent density means that work gets accomplished quickly and efficiently. This means that most creative workers can be 100 times more productive than the average employee. However, this means that these employees should also be appropriately compensated for their efficient output. Employees should be compensated fairly, but that doesn't necessarily mean employees should receive the standard form of payment, which is typically a base salary plus a performance-based bonus. Bonuses can discourage risk-taking because it relies on objectives that were set in the past and may be subject to change as circumstances change in the future. Freedom is essential for doing good creative work. However, if employees' focus is always on how their performance is tied to their bonus, then they will not have the freedom necessary to innovate and come up with creative ideas. This is why, to encourage innovation, a high salary system is better. In a high salary system, employees do not get paid for their performance, but are paid a salary that is in line with the value they provide to the company. To attract talent, companies like Netflix assess what the employee would be making at any other company and then pay just above that number. Keeping salaries a little higher than they would be elsewhere both attracts top talent and also helps prevent them from looking for another job elsewhere where they will not be paid as well. While the company may lose a little money by paying these salaries, it saves money in the long run by spending less on recruiting costs and training new employees. Compensation is a crucial tool for building and retaining a great team, so it is better to have a smaller team of excellent people that are paid well than it is to have a bigger team of mediocre employees. Transparency is essential. While many managers like the idea of transparency, it is a difficult policy to implement in practice. Managers should be aware of signs that secrets are being kept in the office. Leaders should also keep in mind the importance of only hiring top-level employees who are able to handle the responsibility of hearing relevant information, even if it is bad news. They should be committed and dedicated to the company. It is also necessary for leaders to be humble. They should not brag about their accomplishments, but be vocal and open to admitting when they make a mistake, so others can use it as a learning opportunity. Managers should provide information across all levels of the company equally. Low-level employees should also be privy to important information, not just high-level executives. This will make all employees, regardless of status, feel a sense of responsibility and connection to the company. This, in turn, will empower them to make better decisions that will lead to better outcomes for the company without needing to be micromanaged, because they will feel personally invested in the company's success. Like all other principles, there is always a chance that a small number of people will abuse the trust that comes with open transparency. However, similarly to employees that abuse vacation or expense policies, these problems should be handled on a case-by-case basis. The whole team should not be punished if a single individual shows that they are not responsible or committed enough to handle a transparent company culture. If an employee is fired, other team members will soon hear the news and be curious about what led to their termination. It is important for leaders to be open and honest about the incident and its causes, because otherwise, this type of event can be a breeding ground for gossip and secrecy, which can erode company trust and transparency. An open discussion, however, only increases trust, respect, and commitment to the company. The benefits of dispersed decision-making. Many companies employ an outdated top-down model of decision-making. In this model, the boss makes the decisions, and employees only put forth ideas that they believe the boss will agree with. However, a dispersed decision-making model enables all employees within the company to feel empowered to make their own decisions. However, this type of decision will not be successful unless companies have already implemented a strong culture of organizational transparency and have a high talent density. This means that employees are able to take responsibility for their own decision. The company benefits because they are able to increase the speed, efficiency, and innovation of their teams. Employees should not seek to please their boss. Rather, they should make their own informed decisions and feel free to innovate and implement ideas that they believe will be beneficial. Employees should all think like entrepreneurs and feel free to innovate in areas where they think they have solutions for improvement. However, all entrepreneurs will experience failure at some point, and that is normal and should be encouraged. All employees are encouraged to own their decision-making process. They will receive the benefits, but will also have to deal with the consequences of their decision. This ensures that employees will be more likely to make responsible, smart decisions that will help the company. Employees should be encouraged to disagree with their boss if they believe they have a better idea. Unlike most companies, at Netflix, employees are viewed negatively if they do not express their true opinions. By withholding their opinion and not expressing their disagreement, they could potentially be harming the company by not expressing ideas that could potentially benefit them. However, while they do not need to seek the boss's approval, it is important to keep their supervisors informed of what is going on to ensure that they maintain transparency. Lead with context, not control. The bosses with the most innovative teams are those that provide all the context and information their team needs in order to make the best decisions and perform their work as efficiently and effectively as possible. When team members are empowered, they do not need a leader to take control of all the actions, decisions, and initiatives of the team and the company. Leading with control reduces the possibility that mistakes will be made. But if a boss's goal is to encourage innovation and generate new ideas, then context is the best method of leadership. Creativity, efficiency, and agility have become more important than simple error prevention in the digital age. Creativity and variation are essential for leading a successful modern company. Employees cannot innovate if they are controlled too tightly. Bright, talented teams need the freedom to try new ideas and permission to make mistakes when they are trying something new. Employees in this type of environment are like scientists who will experiment and try something new. This may lead to innovation, but they may also fail several times before they succeed. the best employees will learn from their mistakes. For example, at Netflix, very little is under centralized control. Decision-making is dispersed, and individuals have the freedom and flexibility to make the decisions that are best for both them and the company. Each department also enjoys a high degree of freedom within the company to work in a way that works best for them. However, for this method of leadership to be successful, individual employees and bosses need to be on the same page, and everyone must be clear on what their ultimate goals are. The context must be clear and must be shared among everyone, no matter what level they are within the company. If employees make a mistake, they should not be blamed, but leaders should try to understand where the breakdown in context occurred. On the other hand, when employees are using the context and information they have to make good decisions that align with the company's strategies and goals, then bosses will know they are leading with context successfully. Addressing cultural differences. Different nations will have different cultures and different standards for behavior. For example, some companies expect employees to defer more to their bosses than others, or they cultivate trust in different ways. This can make things complicated in a business context when conducting business between different countries. It is important to keep these cultural differences in mind when doing business. Cultural context can change how certain words or phrases are interpreted, so leaders should be mindful of this when conducting business with a global team. For example, at Netflix, lots of emphasis is placed on settling topics in a half an hour to improve time efficiency. But in some cultures, this obsession over time can imply a lack of caring about fellow employees or business partners. Additionally, giving feedback often differs greatly across cultures. Direct feedback is common in some cultures, like Germany, but can come across as harsh to Americans. On the other hand, overly positive feedback that is common in the U.S. can seem disingenuous and insincere to Germans. Therefore, to ensure direct feedback is given without offending anyone, it is important to implement a formal structure and give clear instructions for everyone to follow when they give feedback. One of the most effective ways to deal with cultural differences is simply to talk and maintain open lines of communication. Asking questions and demonstrating genuine curiosity can greatly help bridge the cultural divide. When working with a global team, it is important to cultivate open discussions about candor, what it means, its value, and how it can be adapted for different parts of the world. The main takeaway. Successful leaders do not seek to control their employees, but empower them to make decisions that are in the best interest of the company. They provide context which enables decision-making to be dispersed across the company. However, dispersed decision-making can only be successful if the company hires and retains only the most exceptional employees and gives them the information they need to take responsibility for their decisions. To retain top employees, customers should compensate them according to their value and implement a culture of trust, transparency, and actionable feedback loops.
Hi, I'm Rhonda, and this is an exclusive audiobook video recorded for the Audiobook Master Channel. Enjoy your audiobook and have fun learning. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification button so you'll get updated on our next upload. If you liked the video, give us a thumbs up and say your thoughts about the book we just covered. Do you want to listen to a summary or review of a book that we haven't covered in the past? Say it in the comments below or send us a message. Don't forget to check our other uploads. Enjoy listening!